In the quiet corner of a small town, a lonely dog named Max became a fixture on the roadside. For 4 long years, he waited, his eyes scanning the horizon with unwavering hope. Rain, snow, or blazing sun, Max remained steadfast, as if tethered to a memory that refused to let him go. No one knew exactly why he stayed there. Some whispered it was loyalty, others said it was heartbreak. But one thing was certain: Max /U 2019's story tugged at the heartstrings of everyone who passed by. The locals grew accustomed to the sight of the forlorn dog, leaving scraps of food and water to sustain him. Yet, Max never moved far, as if bound by an invisible promise. He had no home to return to, no family to greet him, only the fading memory of the people he loved who had left him behind. What happened next was something no one could have predicted. A chance encounter, a moment of kindness, changed everything for Max. His story, filled with loyalty, patience, and a love that defied time, would soon inspire an entire community. But at /U 2019's what Max did after being rescued that truly proved the depth of his heart and left everyone in tears. Max had been abandoned on the side of a desolate road 4 years ago, a moment etched into the hearts of those who later learned his story. On that fateful day, the sun was setting, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, but Max's world had turned gray. A car door had slammed, the engine roared, and before Max could comprehend what was happening, the vehicle disappeared into the distance, leaving him alone and bewildered. He had chased after it, barking and wagging his tail, his heart filled with confusion and hope. But the car never stopped. Exhausted and disoriented, Max returned to the spot where he had last seen his family. It was there that he decided to wait, and wait he did, for 4 long years. The small town nearby began to take notice of the lone dog. Max became a familiar sight on the roadside, his figure silhouetted against the changing seasons. He was a picture of patience and perseverance, sitting alert, his eyes fixed on the horizon as though expecting his loved ones to return at any moment. The locals, moved by his loyalty, began to care for him in small but meaningful ways. Children walking to school stopped to pet him, leaving behind bits of their lunches. Shopkeepers placed bowls of water and scraps of food near their doors. A retired schoolteacher named Helen, who had lost her own dog years ago, grew particularly attached to Max. She would sit by him, speaking to him softly, and leave fresh meals for him every day. Yet, no matter how much kindness he received, Max never wandered far from his chosen spot. Over time, Max's story spread through the town, becoming a tale of heartbreak and admiration. People speculated about the circumstances of his abandonment. Some believed his family had been cruel, leaving him behind intentionally. Others thought it might have been a tragic mistake, a case of a lost dog who had been left behind in the chaos of a move. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear: Max's loyalty was unshakable. His presence became a quiet reminder of the power of love and the pain of waiting. Even as the years passed, he remained steadfast, braving rain, snow, and scorching heat with the same unwavering hope. Helen, in particular, felt a deep connection to Max. She saw in him a resilience and devotion that mirrored her own struggles with loss and longing. Despite her efforts to coax Max into her home, he refused to leave his post. She respected his determination, though it broke her heart to see him endure so much for a family that might never return. Helen often wondered what would become of Max. Would he wait forever? Would he eventually give up? These questions lingered in her mind, especially on days when Max seemed particularly weary, his eyes clouded with sadness. Yet, even on those days, he never wavered, and Helen's admiration for him grew. Then, one winter afternoon, something extraordinary happened. A car pulled up to the spot where Max had been waiting. The sound of the engine brought him to his feet, his ears perked and his tail wagging hesitantly. A man stepped out of the vehicle and called Max by name. The dog froze, his eyes widening with recognition. It was as if the voice had unlocked a memory buried deep within him. Slowly, cautiously, Max approached the man, his tail wagging faster with each step. When he finally reached him, the man knelt down and embraced Max, tears streaming down his face. The man, whose name was David, explained to the small crowd that had gathered that Max had been his dog. 4 years ago, during a hectic move, Max had gone missing. David had searched for him for weeks, putting up flyers and contacting shelters, but eventually he had been forced to accept that Max was gone. Seeing Max again after all this time was nothing short of a miracle. The emotional reunion left everyone in tears, especially Helen, who had cared for Max as though he were her own. Max's return to David's arms marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life. The loyalty and patience he had shown during his years of waiting touched not only the townspeople but also people around the world. News of Max's story spread quickly, capturing the hearts of those who heard it. Articles and videos chronicling his journey went viral, turning Max into a symbol of hope, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. David, deeply moved by the care the townspeople had shown Max, made a point to thank everyone who had looked after him during his absence. He formed a particularly close bond with Helen, whose kindness had kept Max alive and well. Recognizing the connection between Helen and Max, David often invited her to visit, and the three of them formed an unlikely but heartwarming trio. Max, once a lonely figure on the roadside, now lived a life filled with love and companionship. The transformation in Max was remarkable. The once guarded and solemn dog became playful and energetic, as though the years of waiting had melted away. David's home was filled with toys, cozy beds, and an abundance of affection. Max's story continued to inspire people everywhere, reminding them of the enduring power of love and loyalty. Strangers wrote letters and sent gifts, expressing how much his journey had moved them. Schools used his story as a lesson in resilience and compassion, teaching children about the importance of kindness and the strength it takes to hold on to hope. Max's legacy extended far beyond the small town where he had waited so patiently. He became a symbol of the extraordinary capacity for love that animals possess, and the profound impact they can have on human lives. Through his story, people were reminded that even in the face of abandonment and despair, hope could endure. Max had waited for 4 years, his heart unwavering, and in the end, his faith had been rewarded. For those who knew him and those who heard his story, Max became a beacon of inspiration, proving that sometimes, love is worth the wait.